I noticed my packages going missing every Friday. I set up a hidden camera. The footage revealed a gloved figure, but the bracelet was familiar. I stayed quiet until I found that same bracelet hanging in my neighbor's open window. I've lived in this neighborhood outside Columbus, Ohio for almost a decade. It's not fancy, but it's solid. Brick houses, people mow their lawns, kids ride bikes, and everybody mostly keeps to themselves but still waves. You feel like you can trust people here. So when my packages started disappearing, I honestly didn't want to believe it. I figured maybe it was delivery mistakes or porch pirates driving through. I didn't want to suspect anyone nearby, definitely not someone I saw almost every day. The first one that went missing was just a pack of socks. Nothing special. Then it was a cleaning spray I liked, one that's kind of hard to find in stores. Then a book I pre-ordered. All small stuff, so I didn't raise hell. But I started keeping a little mental log. That's when I realized it only ever happened on Fridays. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining that pattern. But sure enough, it kept happening. I'd get a delivery text while I was at work, come home around 6, and whatever was supposed to be there would be gone. I started to dread Fridays. I even tried scheduling deliveries on different days, but the missing ones still always seemed to fall on Fridays. After about the 6th time, I bought a cheap motion camera online. One I could hide in a big planter next to my front steps. I told no one. I didn't even tell my brother when we FaceTimed that week. Friday came. I had a delivery scheduled, protein powder and vitamins. Nothing flashy, just stuff I needed. It was delivered around 2 p.m. I got the alert and checked the porch cam feed right away. Still there. By the time I got home at 5:45, it was gone. I closed the door behind me, walked straight to my laptop, and pulled the footage. And there they were. The person walked up like they belonged there. No hesitation. Hoodie up, gloves on, surgical mask over their face. They didn't look at the camera, which made me think they knew exactly where it wasn't pointing before I hit it. They moved quick. One hand grabbed the box, the other was tucked in their hoodie pocket. But what I noticed most was the bracelet. Even in grainy video, I knew it. A wide silver cuff with turquoise stones set in the middle. Unique and kind of loud. Danielle wore that thing all the time. She once told me it belonged to her grandma, and she never took it off unless she was showering or sleeping. Her wrist flashed in the video as she turned. It was unmistakable. I just sat there staring at the screen. I didn't want to believe it. Danielle lived next door, just to the right. Single mom, 2 boys. Friendly, if a little flaky. We weren't friends, exactly, but we talked. She brought over banana bread one time after I helped her jump her car. We'd done that neighborly back and forth for years. I didn't tell her what I saw. I didn't call the cops either. Not yet. Instead, I tested her. The next day, Saturday, I casually mentioned I was thinking of installing a camera since I'd had so many packages go missing. She gasped like I told her someone had died. No way. Are you serious? She said. God, that's creepy. I'd be so freaked out. I watched her face closely. No twitch, no blush, nothing. Either she was innocent, or she was good at this. Then, 2 weeks later, I saw it again. Not on camera. In real life. It was a Wednesday morning. I was out walking the dog before work. As we passed her house, I noticed one of her living room windows was cracked open. The curtain had blown to the side, and right there, hanging off the inside window latch, was that same bracelet. Silver. Wide. Bright turquoise center. No doubt in my mind. I stood there a second too long. She wasn't in the window, but I half expected her to walk up and close it when she saw me staring. She didn't. I kept walking like nothing happened. I didn't sleep much that night. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Her kids were with their dad most weekends. She worked from home Fridays. Nobody around to see her slip out for a minute and grab a box. She probably watched the porch from her window, waited until the driver left, and then walked over and took it. I realized something else too. I wasn't her only target. Her house was filled with stuff I couldn't place. A new porch chair. A planter that looked identical to one I lost during a delivery mix-up. Toys her kids probably didn't get from just birthdays and Christmas. I didn't want revenge right away. I wanted truth. I wanted her to know I knew. But I also wanted her to feel what it was like to be watched and not know it. So I made a plan. After I saw the bracelet in her window, I didn't sleep for 3 nights straight. I'd close my eyes and replay the footage in my head, then picture her waving at me at the mailbox like nothing happened. Every time I tried to rationalize it, tell myself maybe I was wrong, maybe it was coincidence, I think about how she'd reacted when I told her about the missing packages. She wasn't just acting surprised. She was performing. So I kept the act going too. For the next month, I pretended everything was normal. I waved back when she waved. I even offered to grab her trash bin one morning when I saw it out late. She thanked me, smiled like nothing was wrong. Meanwhile, I upgraded my setup. I added a second camera above the garage, aimed sideways to catch the path between our houses. I bought fake delivery boxes and filled them with random garbage. Empty shampoo bottles, newspaper, old quartz. Then I ordered a few cheap items from Amazon just to keep the illusion going. She took 2 of them. Fridays, as always. The camera caught her clearer this time. Same gloves. Same walk. Still wore the mask, but the hoodie slipped back a little one time, and I saw her hair brown, pulled in a low ponytail. She looked right into the camera lens without realizing it. I froze the frame. It was her. I started tracking the pattern. She'd wait about an hour after a package was dropped off. Long enough to make sure I wasn't home. She'd slip out, grab it, go back inside. That was it. No rush. No panic. Like she knew no one was watching. Then I noticed something else. She wasn't doing it alone. The next time I checked the footage, I saw someone else waiting on her porch when she came back. A man, early 40s maybe, looked like he hadn't shaved in weeks. Wore a plain baseball cap pulled low and kept his head down the entire time. He wasn't from around here. I would have remembered seeing him. They stood in her doorway for a minute talking. Then they both went inside. She came back out an hour later and drove off with her kids. It hit me then. She was stealing while he was inside her house. Like he was watching it for her. Like they were a team. I started looking at her house differently after that. I noticed how often she had visitors, even when her kids weren't home. Mostly men, usually during the day. Sometimes they'd stay an hour, sometimes longer. I didn't want to assume the worst, but it felt like there was more going on than just stolen Amazon boxes. One Friday morning, I left for work and circled back 10 minutes later. I parked at the end of the street and walked back on foot. My plan was to wait and catch her in the act. Maybe even confront her. But something threw me off. Her garage door was wide open. Inside, I saw stacks of boxes. Dozens of them. Some had Amazon logos. Others were plain brown or Target branded. It looked like a mini warehouse. I snapped pictures from across the street. I saw labels, some with my address, some with others. She wasn't just stealing from me. I went home and did something I hadn't wanted to do yet. I called the cops. I told them I had footage of a neighbor stealing packages off my porch and possibly others. They sent someone out that evening. I showed them everything, videos, photos, timelines. The officer nodded along, took notes, and said they'd look into it. A week passed. Nothing happened. Then 2. Still nothing. Danielle was still walking around like she owned the place. Still stealing. Still smiling at me. I started getting paranoid. I knew she'd realize I'd caught on eventually. If she thought I was a threat, what would she do? And that guy, who was he? Why was he always there when she took something? Then, one night, I got a text from a blocked number. Keep your camera pointed at your own door. Just that. Nothing else. That's when it stopped being just about the packages. That's when it turned into war. After I got that text, keep your camera pointed at your own door, something in me snapped. That wasn't just a threat. It was a message. She knew I was watching. And she wasn't scared. I immediately checked all my equipment. The planter cam was still in place, untouched. The garage cam was still recording. But it didn't matter. She was letting me know that she knew. She'd either seen the cameras or someone told her. The worst part? I hadn't shown the footage to anyone but the cops. That's when the next twist hit me. It wasn't just her and that guy. Someone inside the police department had tipped her off. How do I know? A week after I filed the report, I called the follow-up. The officer who took my statement, a guy named Doyle, acted cagey. Said they couldn't discuss an ongoing investigation, but there wasn't enough evidence for a warrant. That same night, I saw Danielle and that guy, her boyfriend, I assumed, grilling in the backyard like nothing was wrong. They were laughing. Loud. And then, as if to spit in my face, Danielle waved across the fence and shouted, "Hey, sorry again about your missing packages." I stared at her. She smiled like it was all a game. I decided then I couldn't trust the police. So I started talking to other neighbors. Quietly, carefully. I asked the older couple across the street, Mr. and Mrs. Halverson, if they'd had issues with missing mail. They looked surprised and told me their son's birthday gift, an iPad, never showed up in March. They thought it had just gotten lost in shipping. The woman 3 doors down, a nurse named Tamara, said she'd stopped ordering online altogether because of package theft. She'd reported it too. Nothing came of it. That's when it clicked. Danielle had been doing this for years. And I wasn't her only victim. I was just the one who caught her. I made a burner email and sent all the footage and photos to every house on the block. I didn't say who I was. I just titled it, "Watch Your Porches. You're Being Robbed." That same week, Danielle's boyfriend started showing up less. Her car was gone for long stretches. The lights in her house stayed off even on nights she was usually home. Something shifted. I figured the neighborhood had started pushing back quietly. Maybe people stopped talking to her. Maybe someone confronted her in private. But then another twist hit. Hard. I got home one evening to find my front door cracked open. I froze. Walked around the back. Nothing broken. Nothing taken. But when I went inside, I found a small object on the kitchen counter, a key. Not my key. A flat spare key on a red rubber tag. One I didn't recognize. And next to it, a bracelet. Her bracelet. She left it for me. Like a message. That night, I checked the cams. Nothing. Either she came when they were off or found the blind spots. I felt sick. Violated. She'd been inside my house. And now it wasn't just about petty theft. This was personal. She was playing with me. Taunting me. So I called someone I trusted. My cousin Andy used to work private security in Cleveland. Not a PI, but smart, cautious, and not afraid of dirty work. I told him everything. Showed him everything. He didn't say much. Just nodded. "You want to end this?" he asked. "For real?" I nodded. "Then let's make her feel it." Andy came down the next day. He brought a burner phone, a backpack full of gear, and a look in his eyes I hadn't seen in years. Not since he left his old job in Cleveland after a messy workplace dispute. He'd always had a low tolerance for bullies. "First thing," he said, "we don't go to war with a neighbor. We bury her." We started slow. Andy installed a real security system, motion sensors, indoor cams, door sensors, all hooked to a private server. Nothing connected to the cloud, nothing hackable. He swept my house too. Found a cheap Bluetooth bug under the couch. Someone had been listening. We smashed it. Then we set the trap. I ordered 3 packages. Inside them, Andy packed custom trackers, ones he used during his security days. They'd ping our burner phone every time they moved more than 10 feet. We addressed the boxes to me, but used deliberately vague product names, supplements, office supplies, tech. We left them on the porch Friday morning. At 2:47 p.m., they disappeared. At 2:50, the tracker pinged inside Danielle's house. Solid hit. Andy smiled. Now we wait. We gave it 4 days. Then we pinged the tracker again. 1 box was still at her place. Another one had moved to a storage unit facility on Broad Street. We drove over and walked the perimeter. Sure enough, there she was. Unit number 203. Registered under a man's name we didn't recognize, her boyfriend, no doubt. Andy made a few calls to an old contact at a courier fraud division. He couldn't get us legal access, but he did share that the unit had been linked to at least 2 other complaints of missing packages in nearby suburbs. We had enough now, but I wasn't done. I printed out every photo, every frame of video, and every stolen item report I'd filed. I made copies of the emails I sent to the neighbors. I created a single, massive PDF. Andy helped me upload it to a public Dropbox folder and generated a shareable link. Then I sent that link anonymously to our neighborhood association president Danielle's HOA border employer, listed on LinkedIn as a marketing consultant. The school district her kids attended, every neighbor on our street, and finally, the local news tip line with the subject, "Organized Package Theft Ring in the East Columbus Suburbs." 3 days later, it blew up. The HOA issued an emergency notice about ongoing criminal activity linked to a resident. Her employer? Gone. Site down. LinkedIn scrubbed. Word spread quickly that she was on leave. And then the big one hit. Local Channel 6 ran a short segment showing blurred footage of the thefts and interviewing residents who had submitted reports. They didn't name her, but everyone who lived near us knew. That weekend, a moving truck showed up in her driveway. Quiet. No goodbyes. Her kids weren't there. She didn't wave. She didn't speak. She was gone by Monday. A month later, one of the neighbors told me the police finally issued a search warrant for that storage unit. I never found out what they discovered inside, but the unit was cleared out and locked for good. As for me, I still order online. My cameras are still up, but now I walk out every Friday and stand on my porch just for a moment. Not in fear, just to let whoever's watching know. I see you. And if you ever try that again, I'll do more than see you. I'll ruin you.